church must examine the girl before anything decisive is done about her. However, since His Highness desires it, let her attend the court.
I will find her and tell her.
Oh, come with me, Bluebeard, and let us arrange that she shall not know who I am. You will pretend to be me.
Pretend to be that thing? Holy mother. I wonder will she pick him out?
Of course she will.
Why? How is she to know?
She will know what everyone in Chinon knows. The Dauphin is the meanest looking and worst dressed figure in the court. And that the man with the blue beard is Jean Duret.
I never thought of that.
You are not so accustomed to miracles as I am. It is not your profession.
But that would not be a miracle at all.
Why not?
Well, come. What is a miracle?
A miracle, my friend, is an event which creates faith. That is the purpose and nature of miracles. They may seem very simple to those who perform them, and very wonderful to those who witness them. That does not matter. If they confirm or create faith, then they are true miracles.
Even when they are frauds, you mean?
Frauds deceive. An event which creates faith does not deceive. Therefore, it is not a fraud, but a miracle.
Well, I suppose as you are an archbishop, you must be right. Seems a bit fishy to me, but I am no churchman and don't understand these matters.
You are not a churchman, but you are a diplomatist and a soldier. Could you make our citizens pay war taxes, or our soldiers sacrifice their lives, if they knew what was really happening, instead of what seems to them to be happening?
No, by St. Denis. That would be in the fire before sundown.
Would it not be quite easy to tell them the truth?
Man alive, I wouldn't believe it.
Just so. Well, the church must rule men for the good of their souls, just as you must rule them for the good of their bodies. To do that, the church must do as you do. Nourish their faith by poetry.
Poetry? I should call it humbug.
You would be wrong, my friend. Parables are not lies because they describe events that have never happened. Miracles are not frauds because they're often, I do not say always, very simple and innocent contrivances by which the priest fortifies the faith of his flock. When this girl picks up the Dauphin among his courtiers, it will not be a miracle for me, because I shall know how it has been done, and my faith will not be increased. But as for the others, if they feel the thrill of the supernatural and forget their sinful clay in a sudden sense of the glory of God, it will be a miracle, and a blessed one. And you will find that the girl herself will be more effective than anyone else. She will forget how she really picked him out. So perhaps will you.
Well, I wish I were clever enough to know how much you do as God's archbishop, and how much the most artful Protestant reign. Well, come along, or we shall miss the fun. And I want to see it. Miracle or no miracle.
Do not think that I am a lover of crooked ways. There is a new spirit rising in men. We're at the dawning of a wider epoch. If I were a simple monk, and had not to rule men, I should seek peace for my spirit with Aristotle and Pythagoras, rather than with the saints and their miracles.
Who the deuce was Pythagoras?
A sage who held that the earth is round, and that it moves around the sun.
What an utter fool! Couldn't he use his eyes? and Joan present Joan the Maid to His Majesty.
Let her approach.
My dear, her hair.
I wear it like this because I am a soldier. Where be Dauphin?
You are in the presence of the Dauphin.
Come, Bluebeard, thou canst not fool me. Where be Dauphin? Dauphin! Gentle little Dauphin, I am sent from God to save you from Orleans and from France and to crown you king in the cathedral at Rheims, where all true kings of France are crowned.
You see? All of you. She knew the blood royal. Who dare say now that I am not my father's son? But if you want me to be crowned at Rheims, you must talk to the Archbishop, not to me. There he is.
Oh, my lord, I am only a poor country girl, and you are filled with the blessedness and glory of God himself. But you will touch me with your hands and give me your blessing, won't you?
The old fox blushes. Another miracle.
Child, you're in love with religion.
Am I? I had never thought of that. Is there any harm in it?
There is no harm in it, but there is great danger.
There is always danger, except in heaven. Oh, my lord, you have given me such strength, such courage. It must be a most wonderful thing to be Archbishop.
Gentlemen, your levity is rebuked by this maid's faith. I am, God help me, all unworthy. But your mirth is a deadly sin.
My lord, we were laughing at her, not at you.
What? Not at my unworthiness, but at her faith? She deranged. This maid prophesied that the blasphemer should be drowned in his sin.
No!
I prophesy now that you will be hanged in yours, not learn when to laugh and when to pray.
My lord, I stand rebuked. I am sorry. I can say no more. But if you prophesy that I shall be hanged, I shall never be able to resist temptation. I shall always be thinking to myself, I may as well be hanged for a sheep as a lamb.
You are an idle fellow, Bluebeard, and you've got great impudence to answer the Archbishop. Well said, my lass, well said. Oh, my lord, will you not send all these silly folks away, so that I may speak to the Dauphin alone? I can take a hint.
Come, gentlemen. The maid comes with God's blessing and must be obeyed.
Will you please allow me to pass?
Oh, beg pardon, ma'am, I am sure. Be that queen?
No, she thinks she is.
Ooh.
I'll trouble your highness not to jibe at my wife.
He be all gruff and brown.
He is the Duc de la Trémouille.
What be his job?
He pretends to command the army, and whenever I find a friend I can care for, he kills him.
Well, why dost let him?
Oh, how can I prevent him? He bullies me. They all bully me.
Art afraid?
Yes, I am afraid. It is no use preaching to me about it. It is all very well for these big men with the armor that is too heavy for me, and their swords I can hardly lift, and their muscle and their shouting and their bad tempers. They like fighting. Most of them are making fools of themselves all the time. They are not fighting. But I am quiet and sensible, and I don't want to kill people. I only want to be left alone to enjoy myself in my own way. I never asked to be king. It was pushed on me. So if you're going to say, son of St. Louis, gird on the sword of your ancestors and lead us to victory, you may spare your breath to cool your porridge. For I cannot do it. I'm not built that way, and there is an end of it.
Leathers. We're all like that to begin with. I shall put courage into thee.
But I don't want to have courage put into me. I want to sleep in a comfortable bed and not live in continual terror of being killed or wounded. Put courage into the others and let them have their belly full of fighting, but let me alone.
It's no use, Charlie. Thou must face what God puts on thee. If thou fail to make thyself king, thou'lt be a beggar. What else art fit for? see thee sitting on the throne.
And look forward to that.
What is the good of sitting on the throne when all the other fellows give all the orders? However, here is the king for you. Look your fill at the poor devil.
Thou'rt not king yet, lad. Thou'rt but too fat. Be not led astray by them around thee. Dressing up don't fill anything novel. I know the people, the real people that make thy bread for thee. And I tell thee, they count no man king of France until the holy oil's been poured in his head, and himself crowned and consecrated in Rheims Cathedral. And thou needs new clothes, Charlie. Why does not Queen look after thee properly?
We're too poor. She wants all the money I can spare to put in her own back. Besides, I like to see her beautifully dressed. And I don't care what I wear myself, I should look ugly anyhow.
There is some good in thee, but it is not yet a king's good.
We shall see. I am not such a fool as I look. I have my eyes wide open, and I can tell you that one good treaty is worth 10 good fights. These fighting fellows lose all on the treaties that they gain on the fights. If we could only have a treaty, the English are sure to have the worst of it, because they are better at fighting than at thinking.
If the English win, it is they that will make the treaty, and then God help her France. Thou must fight, Charlie, whether thou will or no. I will go first to hearten thee. We must take our courage in both hands. Yes, and pray for it in both hands.
Oh,
too.
do stop talking about God and praying. I can't bear people who are always praying. Isn't it bad enough to have to do it at the proper times?
Her child, thou hast never prayed in thy life. I must teach thee from the beginning.
I'm not a child. I'm a grown man and a father, and I shall not be taught any more.
Aye, you have a son. He will be Louis the 11th when you die. Would you not fight for him?
No. A horrid boy. He hates me. He hates everybody. Selfish little beast. I don't want to be bothered with children. I don't want to be a father. I don't want to be a son, especially a son of St. Louis. I don't want to be any of these fine things that you all have your heads full of. I want to be just what I am. Oh, why can't you mind your own business and let me mind mine?
Minding your own business is like minding your own body. It's the shortest way to make yourself sick. What is my business? Helping mother at home. What is thine? Petting lapdogs and sucking sugar sticks. I call that muck. It's God's business we are here to do, not our own. I have a message to thee from God, and thou must listen to it, though thy heart break with the terror of it.
I don't want a message. But can you tell me any secrets? Do you know any cures? Can you turn London into gold or anything of that sort?
I can turn thee into a king in Rheims Cathedral, and that is a miracle which will take some doing.
But if we go to Rheims and have a coronation, Anne will want new dresses. We can't afford them. I'm all right as I am.
As you are. And what is that? Less than my father's poorest shepherd. Thou art not lawful owner of thy own land till thou be consecrated.
But I shall not be lawful owner of my own land anyhow. Will the consecration pay off my mortgages? I have pledged my last acre to that big bully and the archbishop. I owe money even to Bluebeard.
Charlie, I come from the land and have gotten my strength working on the land. And I tell thee that the land is thine, to rule righteously and keep God's peace in, and not to pledge to wed the pawn shop as a drunken woman pledges her children's clothes. And I come from God to tell thee to kneel in the cathedral and to give thy kingdom to him forever and ever, as his steward and his bailiff, his soldier and his servant. The very clay of France will become holy. Her soldiers will be soldiers of God. The rebel dukes will be rebels against God. The English will fall on their knees and beg thee, let them return to their lawful homes in peace. Wilt be a poor little Judas and betray me and him that sent me?
Oh, if I only dare.
I shall dare and dare and dare again in God's name. Art for or against me?
All right, I'll risk it. I warn you, I shan't be able to keep it up. But I'll risk it, you shall see. Hello, come back, everybody. Mind you stand by and don't let anybody talk. Come along, will you, the whole court? You, hold for silence, you little beast.
Silence for His Majesty the King. The King speaks. Will you be silent, sir?
I have given the command of the army to the maid. The maid is to do as she likes with it.
What is this? I command the army! Lord answered old corrupt and grown. He is for God and His maid. He is for me, to Orleans. For God and His maid, to Orleans. To Orleans.
West wind. West wind, west wind, west wind, west wind, west wind. Strumpet! Steadfast when you should be wanting, and wanting when you should be steadfast. West wind on the silver Loire. What rhymes to Loire? Change! Change, curse you English! Hold out of a wind, change! West! West, I tell you! West wind, wild wind, wanton wind, welcome wind, false wind from the water, will you ever go again?
See, there she goes.
Where you were, mate?
No, the kingfisher, that blue lightning shoots into that bush.
It's not all. You and the girl, young lady, have a mind to pitch you in the river.
It looked frightfully jolly, that flash of blue. Look, there goes the other.
Where?
Passing the reeds.
I see.
You blew me up this right since yesterday.
You knew I was expecting the maid yesterday when you said you were yelping. Give me something to yelp for next time.
Aren't they lovely? Wish I catch them.
Let me catch you trying to chop them. I'll put you in iron cage for a month and see what a cage feels like. Oh, good boy. Bluebird, bluebird, since I am meant to be James' daughter. We had sympathy. Mary and the goose. Kingfish. Will you touch it? Halt! Who goes there?
The maid.
Let her pass. Let her in. To me.
Be you bastard Orleans?
You see the bent sinister. Are you joining the maid?
Sure.
Where are your troops?
Miles behind. They have cheated me. They have brought me to the wrong side of the river.
I told them to.
Why did you? The English are on the other side.
English on both sides.
But Orleans is on the other side. We must fight the English there. How can we cross this river?
There is a bridge.
Then in God's name, let us cross that bridge and fall on them.
Sounds easy, Joan, but that cannot be done.
Who says so?
I say so. No one wiser heads than mine are the same opinion.
Then your older and wiser heads are fat heads. They have made a fool of you, and now they're trying to make a fool of me too, bringing me to the wrong side of the river. Do you not know that I bring you better help than ever came to any general or any town?
Your own.
No. The help and counsel of the King of Heaven. Which is the way to that bridge?
You're impatient maid.
Is this a time for patience? Our enemy are at our gates, and here we stand doing nothing. Oh, why will you not fight? Listen to me. I will deliver you from fear.
If
I
you
will...
deliver me from fear, Joan, that'd be a good night for a storybook, but a poor commander you are. Come on, this way and we'll start making proper soldier. You see those big forts at the end of the bridge? The really big ones?
Yes, are the arse the godams?
Shush, listen to me. I'm not finished. If I were in either of those two forts, with only 10 men, I could hold them against an entire army. The English have more than 10 times 10 godams in each one of those forts to hold them against us.
They cannot hold them against God. God's not given the land under those forts. He gave it to us. They stole it from him. I will take those forts.
Single-handedly.
Your men will take them. I will lead them.
Not a man will follow you.
I will not look back to see whether anyone is following me or not.
Good. You're the makings of a soldier in you. You're in love with war.
Oh, and the Archbishop said I was in love with religion.
I, God forgive me, I'm a little in love with war myself. I'm like a man with 2 wives. Couldn't be like a woman with 2 husbands.
Oh no, I will never take a husband. A man in Tull took an action against me for breach of promise, but I never promised him. I am a soldier. I do not want to be thought of as a woman. I will not dress as a woman. I do not care for the things that women care for. They dream of lovers and of money. I dream of leading the charge and of placing the big guns. You soldiers don't know how to use the big guns. You think you can win battles with the great noise and smoke.
True. Half the time artillery is more trouble than it's worth.
Aye, lad, but you cannot fight stone walls with horses. You must have guns, and much bigger guns too.
Aye, lass. Well, that's my part, and sturdy lad. We'll get you with a stone to wall.
I'll be first up the ladder and reach the fort in Orleans. I dare you to follow me.
You cannot dare a staff officer to. Only company officers are allowed to indulge in personal displays of courage. Besides, you must know that I welcome you as a saint. Not a daredevil. If daredevil's not my call, what are they any use to me?
I am not a daredevil. I am a servant of God. My sword is sacred. I find it hidden behind the altar in the church of St. Catherine, where God hid it for me, and I may not strike a blow with it. My heart is full of courage, not of anger. I will flee, and your men will follow, and that is all that I can do. But I must do it, and you shall not stop me.
Right, on good time. When a man can head to the sport about to sally across the bridge, you must come by water and take the English in the rear. On that side.
Then make rafts with the big guns in them, and let your men cross to us.
The rafts are ready and the men are embarked. They must wait for God.
What do you mean? God is waiting for them.
Well, let him send us a wind then. My boats are downstream. They cannot come up against both wind and current. Come on, I'll take you to church.
No, I love church, but the English will not yield to prayers. They understand nothing but hard knocks and slashes. I will not go back to church until we've beaten the English.
You must. I have business for you there.
What business?
Pray for a west wind. I pray, and I've given 2 silver candlesticks, but God hasn't answered my prayers. He may answer yours, though. Here. Go.
Yes, you're right. I will go. I will tell St. Catherine and she'll make God send us a west wind. Quick, show me the way to the church. God bless you, my child.
Now this is what I call workmanship. There is nothing on earth more exquisite than a bonny book with well-placed columns of rich black writing in beautiful borders, and illuminated pictures cunningly inset. But nowadays, instead of looking at books, people read them. A book might as well be one of those orders for bacon and bran that you are scribbling.
I must say, my lord, you take our situation very coolly indeed.
What is the matter?
The matter, my lord, is that we English are being defeated.
That happens, you know. It is only in history books and ballads that the enemy is always defeated.
Yes, but we are being defeated over and over again. First Orleans. I know what you're going to say about Orleans, my lord. That was a clear case of witchcraft and sorcery. But we are still being defeated. Jargeau, Mans, Beaugency, just like Orleans. And now we've been butchered at Patay and Saint-Antoine, but actually been taken prisoner. I feel it, my lord. I feel it very deeply. I cannot bear to see our fellow Englishmen being beaten by a dram from lousy Champagne.
Oh, you're an Englishman, are you?
Certainly not. I am a gentleman. Still, like your lordship, I was born in England, and it makes a difference.
You're attached to the soil, eh?
It pleases your lordship to be satirical at my expense. Your greatness privileges you to be so with impunity. But your lordship knows very well I'm not attached to the soil in a vulgar manner, like a sir. Still, I have a feeling about it, and I'm not ashamed of it. But by God, if this goes on any longer, I will fling my cassock to the devil and take arms myself, and strangle the accursed witch with my own hands.
So you shall, chaplain, so you shall, but not yet. Not quite yet. I should not care very much about the witch, you see. I have made my pilgrimage to the Holy Land, and the heavenly powers, for their own credit, can hardly allow me to be worsted by a village sorceress. But the bastard of Orleans is a harder nut to crack, and as he has been to the Holy Land too, honours are easily between us as far as that goes.
He is only a Frenchman, my lord.
A Frenchman? Where did you pick up that expression? Are these Burgundians and Britons and Picards beginning to call themselves Frenchmen, just as our fellows are beginning to call themselves Englishmen? They actually talk of France and England as their countries. Theirs, if you please. What is to become of me and you if that way of thinking comes into fashion?
But why, my lord? Can it hurt us?
Men cannot serve two masters. If this cant of serving their country comes into fashion, goodbye to authority of the feudal lords, and goodbye to authority of the church. That is, goodbye to you and me.
I hope I am a faithful servant of the church, and there are only 6 cousins between me and the barony of de Stollimer, which was created by the Conqueror. But is that any reason why I should stand by and see my fellow Englishmen being beaten by a French bastard and a witch from lousy Champagne?
Easy, man, easy. We shall burn the witch and beat the bastard all in good time. Indeed, I am waiting at present for the Bishop of Beauvais to arrange the burning with him. He is being turned out of his diocese by her faction.
Give her first to capture, my lord.
Or by her. I will offer a king's ransom.
A king's ransom? For that slut?
One has to leave a margin. Some of Charles's people will sell her to the Burgundians. The Burgundians will sell her to us, and there will probably be 3 or 4 middlemen in between who will expect their little commissions.
Monstrous. It's all those scoundrels of Jews. They get in every time money changes hands. I would not leave a Jew alive in Christendom if I had my way.
Why not? The Jews generally give good value. They make you pay, but they deliver the goods. In my experience, the men who want something for nothing are invariably Christians.
The Right Reverend the Bishop of Beauvais, Monsieur Cochon.
My dear Bishop, how good of you to come. Allow me to introduce myself. Richard de Beauchamp, Earl of Warwick, at your service.
Your lordship's fame is well known to me.
This reverend cleric is Master John de Stoltenberg.
John, Barr, Spencer, Neville de Stoltenberg, Bachelor of Theology and Keeper of the Private Seal to His Eminence the Cardinal of Winchester.
You call him the Cardinal of England, I believe, our king's uncle.
Messiah Stoltenberg. I am more with the very good friend over there.
Do me the honor to be seated. You catch us in one of our lucky moments. Charles is to be crowned at Reims, practically by the young woman from Lorraine. And I cannot deceive you nor flatter your hopes. We cannot prevent it. I suppose it will make a great deal of difference to Charles's position.
Undoubtedly, it is a masterstroke of the maid.
We were not fairly beaten, my lord. No Englishman is ever fairly beaten.
Our friend here takes the view that the young woman is a sorceress. It would, I presume, be the duty of your lordship to denounce her to the Inquisition and have her burnt for that offence?
If she were captured in my diocese, yes.
Yes, so there is no reasonable doubt that she is a sorceress.
Not the least. She's an errant witch.
We're asking for the bishop's opinion, Messire John.
We shall have to consider not merely our own opinions here, but the opinions, the prejudices, if you like, of a French
A
court.
Catholic court.
Catholic courts are composed of mortal men like other courts, however sacred their function and inspiration may be. And if the men are Frenchmen, as the modern fashion calls them, then I'm afraid that the bare fact that an English army has been defeated by a French one will not convince them that there's been any sorcery in the matter.
What? Not when the famous Sir John Talbot has actually been taken prisoner by a giraffe from the ditches of Lorraine.
Sir John Talbot, we all know, is a fierce and formidable soldier, but I have yet to learn that he is an able general. And though it pleases you to say that he was defeated by this girl, some of us may be disposed to give a little of the credit to Dunois.
The bastard of Orleans?
Let me
I
remind...
know what you're going to say. Dunois defeated me at Montargis.
I take that as evidence that the Seigneur Dunois is a very able commander indeed.
Your lordship is the flower of courtesy. I admit on our behalf that Talbot is a mere fighting animal. Has probably served him right to be taken a pate.
My lord, at Orleans this woman had her throat pierced by an English arrow, and she seemed to cry like a child from the pain of it. It was a death wound, yet she fought all day and repulsed all our men's attacks, and when she had repulsed them all, she marched to the wall of our fort with a white banner in her hand, and our men were paralyzed, and they could neither shoot nor strike, for the fear of it, while the French drove them onto the bridge, which immediately burst into flames and crumbled under them, and our men were drowned in heaps. Was this your bastard's generalship, or were those the flames of hell conjured up by witchcraft?
You will excuse Messire John's vim. But he has put our case. Dunois is a great captain, but why could he do nothing until the witch came?
I do not say that there were no supernatural powers on her side, but the names on that white banner were not the names of Satan and Beelzebub, but the blessed names of our Lord and his Holy Mother. And your commander who was drowned, Glassdale, I think you called him.
Glassdale, Sir William
Glassdale, thank you. He was no saint, and many of our people think that he was drowned for his blasphemy against the maid.
Well, what are we to infer from all this, my lord? Has the maid converted you?
If she had, my lord, I should have known better than to have trusted myself here within your grasp.
Oh, my lord.
If the devil is making use of this girl, and I believe he is,
Oh, listen to this, Messire John. I knew your lordship would not fail us. Pardon my interruption. Proceed.
if it be so, then the devil has longer views than you give him credit for.
Indeed, in what way? Listen to this, Messire John.
If the devil wanted to damn a country girl, do you think so easy a task would cost him the winning of a half a dozen battles? No, my lord. Any trumpery imp could do that much if the girl could be damned at all. The Prince of Darkness does not condescend to such cheap drudgery. When he strikes at the Catholic Church, whose realm is the whole spiritual world. When he damns the souls of the entire human race. Against that dreadful design, the Church stands ever on guard. And it is one of the instruments of that design that I see this girl. She is inspired, but diabolically inspired.
I told you she was a witch.
She's not a witch, she's a heretic.
What difference does that make?
You, a priest, ask me that? You English are strangely blunt in the mind. All these things that you call witchcraft are capable of a natural explanation. The woman's miracles would not impose nor rub it. She does not claim those miracles herself. What do her victories prove but that she has a better head on her shoulders than your swearing Glassdales and your mad bull Talbots, and that the courage of faith, even though it be a false faith, will always outstay the courage of wrath?
Does your lordship compare Sir John Talbot, 3 times Governor of Ireland, to a mad bull?
It would not be seemly for you to do so, Messire John, as you are still 6 removes from a baronet. But as I am an earl, and Talbot is only a knight, I may make bold comparison. My lord, I won't persuade as far as the witchcraft goes, Nonetheless, we must burn the woman.
I cannot burn her. The church cannot take a life. And my first duty is to seek this woman's salvation.
But you do burn people. Occasionally.
No. When the church cuts off an obstinate heretic as a dead branch from the tree of life, the heretic is handed over to the secular arm. The church has no part in what the secular arm may see fit to do.
Precisely. And I shall be the secular arm. Well, my lord, hand over your dead branch, and I will see that the fire is ready for it. If you answer for the church's part, I will answer for the secular part.
I can answer for nothing. You great lords are too prone to treat the church as a mere political convenience.
Not in England, I assure you.
In England more than anywhere else. No, my lord. The soul of this village girl is of equal value with yours or your king's before the throne of God. And my first duty is to save it. I will not suffer your lordship to smile at me as if I were repeating a meaningless form of words, and it were well understood between us that I should betray this girl to you. I am no mere political bishop. My faith is to me what your honour is to you, and if there be a loophole through which this baptized child of God can creep to her salvation, I shall guide her to it.
You're a traitor!
You lie, priest! If you dare do what this woman has done, set your country above the Holy Catholic Church, then you shall go to the fire with her!
My lord, I went too far.
I must apologize to you for the word used for Sir John. Traitor does not mean in your country what it does in ours. Here it means betrayer. One who is perfidious, treacherous, unfaithful, disloyal. In our country it means one who is simply not devoted to our English interests.
I'm sorry, I did not understand.
I must apologize on my own account if I had seemed to take the burning of this poor girl too lightly. When one has seen whole countrysides burned over and over again as items of military routine, one has to grow a very thick skin. Otherwise one might go mad. At all events I should. Well, venture to assume that your lordship, also having seen so many heretics burn from time to time, is compelled to take, shall I say, a professional view of what might otherwise be a horrible incident.
Yes, it is a painful duty. Even as you say, a horrible one. But in comparison with the horror of heresy, it is less than nothing. I am not thinking of this girl's body, which will suffer for a few moments only, and which must in any event die in some more less painful manner, but of her soul, which may suffer to all eternity.
Just so, and God grants that her soul may be saved. But the practical problem would seem to be how to save her soul without saving her body. For we must face it, my lord, if this cult of the May goes on, our cause is lost.
May I speak, my lord?
Really, Sir John, I'd rather you didn't, unless you can keep your temper.
It is only this. I speak under correction, but the maid is full of deceit. She pretends to be devout. Her prayers and her confessions are endless. How can she be accused of heresy when she neglects no observance of a faithful daughter of the church?
A faithful daughter of the church? The Pope himself, with his proudest, dare not presume as this woman presumes. She acts as if she herself were the church. She brings the message of God to Charles, and the church must stand aside. She will crown with the cathedral of Rheims. She, not the church. She writes letters to the King of England, giving him God's command through her to return to his island on pain of God's vengeance, which she will execute. Let me tell you, the writing of such letters was the practice of the accursed Mahomet, the Antichrist. Has she ever, in all her utterances, said one word of the church? Never. It is always between God and herself.
What do you expect, a beggar on horseback? Her head is turned.
But who has turned it? The devil. And for a mighty purpose. He is spreading his heresy everywhere. The man Huss, burnt only 13 years ago at Constance, infected all of Bohemia with it. A man named Wycliffe, himself an anointed priest, spread the pestilence in England, and to your shame you let him die in his bed. We have such people here in France, too. I knew the breed. It is cancerous. If it be not cut out, stamped out, burnt out, it will not stop until it has brought the whole of human society into sin and corruption, into waste and ruin. What will the world be like when the church has accumulated knowledge and wisdom and experience? Its councils of learned, venerable, and pious men are thrust into the kennel by every ignorant labourer and dairymaid whom the devil can puff up with the monstrous self-conceit of being directly inspired from heaven. It will be a world of blood, of fury, of devastation, of each man striving for his own hand. In the end, a world wrecked back into barbarism. What will the world be like when every maid thinks herself a Joan? I shudder to the very marrow of my bones when I think of it. I've fought it all my life, and I will fight it to the end. Let all this woman's sins be forgiven her, except this one. For it is a sin against the Holy Ghost. And if she does not recant into the dust before the world, and submit herself to the very last inch of her soul to her church, then to the fire she shall go if she once falls into my hand.
You feel strongly about it naturally.
Do not you?
I am a soldier, not a churchman. Oh, my lord, I am not gainsaying you. You will carry the church with you, but you have to carry the nobles also. To my mind, there is a stronger case against the maid than the one you so forcibly flipped. Have you noticed that in these letters of hers, she proposes to all the kings of Europe, as she has pressed on Charles, a transaction which would wreck the whole social structure of Christendom?
Wreck the church, I tell you so.
My lord, pray, get the church out of your head for a second, and remember there are temporal institutions in the world, as well as spiritual ones. I and my peers represent the feudal aristocracy, as you represent the church. We are the temporal power. Well, do you not see how this girl's idea strikes at us?
How does her idea strike at you, except as it strikes at all of us, through the church?
Her idea is that the king should give up their lands and give them to God.
Need you fear that?
By no means. It is a cunning device to supersede the aristocracy and make the king's sole and absolute autocrat. Instead of the king being first among his peers, he becomes their master. That we cannot suffer. We call no man master. Nominally we hold our land and dignitaries from the king, but we hold our land in our own hands and defend them with our own swords and those of our own tenants. Not by the maid's doctrine, the king will take our lands, and give them as a present to God, and then God will then vest them wholly in the king.
Again, I ask you, need you fear that?
Yes, but only as long as the people follow their feudal lords and see the king only as a travelling show, owing nothing but the highway that belongs to everybody. If the people's hearts and minds were turned to the king, and their lords became the king's servants in their eyes, the king could break us across his knee one by one, and then would we be but livered courtiers in his halls.
Still you need not fear, my lord. Some men are born kings, and some are born statesmen. The two are seldom the same. Where would the king find counselors to plan and carry out such a policy for him?
Perhaps in the church, my lord. Strike down the barons and the cardinals will have it all their own way.
My lord, we shall not defeat the maid if we strive against one another. Can we not sink our differences in the face of a common enemy? I see now that what is in your mind is not that this girl has never once mentioned the church and thinks only of God and herself, but that she has never once mentioned the peerage and thinks only of the king and herself.
Quite so. These two ideas are the same at bottom. It goes deep, my lord. It is the protest of the individual soul against the interference of priest or peer between the private man and his God. I should call her a protestant, if I had to find any for her.
You understand it wonderfully well, my lord. Scratch an Englishman, find a Protestant.
I think you're not entirely void of sympathy for the maid's secular heresy. I leave you to find an name for it.
You mistake me, my lord. I have no sympathy with her political presumptions. But as a priest I have gained a knowledge of the minds of the common people, and there you will find yet another most dangerous idea. I can express it using only such phrases as France for the French, England for the English. When she threatens to drive the English from the throne of France, she is undoubtedly thinking of the whole of the extent of the country in which French is spoken. To her, the French-speaking people are what the Holy Scriptures would describe as a nation. Call the side of her heresy nationalism if you wish. I can find you no better name for it. I can only tell you that it is essentially anti-Catholic and anti-Christian. For the Holy Church knows only one realm, and that is the realm of Christ's kingdom. Divide that kingdom into nations, and you dethrone Christ. Dethrone Christ, and who will stand between our throats and the sword? Who all will perish in a welter of war?
Well, if you won't burn the Protestant, I shall burn the Nationalist. Though perhaps I will not bring Sir John with me there. England for the English would appeal to him.
Certainly England for the English goes without saying. That is a simple law of nature. But this woman denies to England her legitimate conquest given to her by God to rule over the less civilized races for their own good. I do not understand what your lordships mean by Protestant and nationalist. You are too learned and too settled for a poor clerk like myself. But I know as a matter of plain common sense that this woman is a rebel. She rebels against nature by wearing men's clothes and fighting. She rebels against the church by usurping the divine authority of the Pope. She rebels against God through her damnable leagues with Satan against our army. And all these are part of a great rebellion against England. That is not to be endured. Let her perish! Let her burn! Let her not infect the whole flock! It is expedient that this one woman should die for all the people.
My lord, we seem to be agreed.
I will not imperil my soul. I will uphold the justice of the church. I will strive to my utmost for this woman's salvation.
I feel sorry for the girl. I hate these severities. I will spare her if I can.
I would burn her with my own hands.
I absolve you, Messire de Stoggenber, on the grounds of your invincible ignorance.
Come, Joan. I've enough time by now. I can't you chill if you sit there any longer. The theatre's empty and the streets are full, and they're calling for the maid. Go over your thing if you're afraid, but they want to see you again.
No, let the king have all the glory.
He only spoils the show, poor devil. No, you crowned him, and you must go through with it. Come, we'll be over in a couple of hours. It's better than the bridge at Orleans.
Oh dear Dunois, why we should wear the bridge to Orleans again. We lived at that bridge.
Die too, someone else.
Isn't it strange, Jack? I'm such a coward before a battle when there is no danger. But it is so dull afterwards. So dull, dull, dull.
You must learn to be abstemious in war, just as you are in your food and drink, my little sinner.
I think you like me as a soldier likes his comrade, Jack.
You need it for an innocent child of God. You haven't many friends in the world.
Why do all the knights and the courtiers and churchmen hate me? What have I done to them? I've asked nothing for myself, except that my village should not be taxed, for we cannot afford war taxes. I have brought them luck and victory. I have crowned Charles and made him a real king, and all the honours he is handing out have gone to them. Then why do they not love me?
Oh, simple. Do you expect stupid people to love you for throwing them up? The blundering old military captains love the successful young ones who supersede them. The ambitious politicians love the climbers who take the front benches from them. The archbishops enjoy being put up their own altars, even by saints. Joan, I'd be jealous of you myself if I were ambitious enough.
You're the pick of the bunch here, Jack. The only friend I have amongst all these nobles. I'll wager your mother's from the country. I'll go back to the country when I've taken Paris.
I'm not so sure they'll let you take Paris.
What?
I should have taken it before myself if they'd all been signed about it, but some of them would rather Paris take you, I'm afraid. So take care.
Dear Jack,
The world is too wicked for me. If the English and the Burgundians not make an end of me, the French will.
only for my voices I should lose all heart. That is why I had to steal away here to pray alone after the coronation. I'll tell you something, Jack. It's in the bells I hear my voices. Not today when they all rang, that was nothing but jangling. But here, in this corner, where the bells come down from heaven and the echoes linger. Or in the fields, where they come across the crack of the countryside. It's then I hear my voices. Hark! Do you hear? Dear child of God, just what you said. At the half hour they will say, be brave, go on. At the 3/4 hour they will say, I am thy help. But it is at the hour when the great bell rings after God will save France. It is then that St. Catherine and St. Margaret, and sometimes even the blessed St. Michael, will say things to me I cannot tell beforehand. Then,
Then, Joan, we'll do whatever we fancy in the book. You make me uneasy when you talk about your voices. I would think you're a bit cracked if I hadn't noticed that you give me very sensible reasons for doing what you do. Will you tell me you're only obeying Madame St. Catherine?
Well, I have to find reasons for you, because you do not believe in my voices. But the voices come first, I find the reasons after, whatever you may choose to believe.
Are you angry, Joan?
Yes.
no, not with you. I wish you were one of the village babies.
Why?
I could nurse you for a while.
So, you're a bit of a woman after all.
No, not a bit. I'm a soldier and nothing else. Soldiers always nurse children when they get the chance.
True. Ah, Your Majesty. How long did it take last? Was it Bill?
I would not go through that again to be the emperor of the sun and moon. The weight of those robes. And you know, I thought I should have dropped when they loaded that crown onto me. And that famous holy oil they talk so much about was rancid. Oh, the archbishop must be nearly dead. His robes must have weighed a ton. They are still stripping him in the vestry.
Your Majesty should wear armor oftener. Costumes run to heavy dressing.
Yes, the old jibe. Well, I'm not going to wear armor, because fighting is not my job. Where is the maid?
Sire, I have made you king. My work is done. I'm going back to my father's farm.
Oh, are you? Well, that will be very nice. A healthy life, you know.
What a dull one.
You'll find the petticoats tripping you up after leaving them off for so long.
You will miss the fighting. It's a bad habit, but a grand one. The hardest of all to break yourself of.
Still, we don't want you to stay if you would really rather go home.
I know well that none of you will be sorry to see me go.
Well, I shall be able to swear when I want to, but I shall miss you at times.
La'ir, in spite of all your sins and swears, we shall meet again in heaven. For I love you as I love Pitu, my old sheepdog. Pitu could kill a wolf, and you will kill the English wolves until they become good dogs of God. Will you not?
You and I together, yes.
No. I shall last only a year from the beginning.
What?
I know it. Somehow.
Nonsense.
Jack, do you think you'll be able to drive them out?
Yes, I'll drive them out. They beat us before because we got battles with tournaments and ransom markets. But I've learnt my lesson and taken their measure. I've beaten them before, and I'll beat them again.
But you'll not be cruel to them, Jack.
The Godams don't yield to tender handling, Joan. We didn't start this.
Jack, before I go home,
Let us take part.
Oh, no. We shall lose everything we have gained. Oh, don't let us have any more fighting. We can make a very good treaty with the Duke of Burgundy.
A treaty?
Well, why not, now that I am crowned and anointed? Oh, that oil. Archbishop, the maid wants to start fighting again.
Have we ceased fighting then? Are we at peace?
No, I suppose not. But let us be content with what we have gained. Let us make a treaty. Our luck is too good to last, and now is our chance to stop before it turns.
Luck? God has fought for us, and you call it luck? And you would stop while there's still English soldiers in the holy earth of your France?
Maid! The king addressed himself to me, not to you. You forget yourself. You very often forget yourself.
Then speak, you, and tell him that it is not God's will that he should take his hand from the plough.
If I am not so glib with the name of God as you are, it is because I interpret his will with the authority of the church and of my sacred office. When you first came, you respected it, not dared to speak as you're now speaking. You came clothed with the virtue of humility, and because God blessed your enterprises accordingly, you have stained yourself with the sin of pride.
Yes, she thinks she knows better than everyone else.
But I do know better than any of you seem to, and I am not proud. I never speak unless I know I am right.
Just so.
How do you know you are right?
I always know. My voice is
Oh,
never...
your voices! Your voices! Why don't the voices come to me? I am king, not you.
They do come to you, but you do not hear them. You have not sat in the fields in the evening listening for them. When the Angelus rings, you cross yourself and have done with. But if you listen to the bells in the air after they stop ringing, then you would hear the voices as well as I do. But what voices do you need to tell you what the blacksmith can tell you? That you must strike while the iron is hot. I tell you we must make a dash at Compiègne and relieve it as we relieved Orléans. Then Paris will open its gates, or if not, we'll break through them. What is your crown worth without your capital?
We should go through them like a red-hot shot through a pound of butter. What do you say about it?
Our cannonballs were all as hot as your head, and we had nothing in it. We'd conquer the world, no doubt. No. Pluck and impetuosity are good servants in war with bad masters. They deliver us into the hands of the English every time we've trusted to them. We never know when we're beaten. That is our great fault.
You never know when you're victorious. That is a worse fault. You must always attack. And if you only hold on long enough, the enemy will stop first. You don't know how to begin a battle, and you don't know how to use your cannons, and I do.
And now what do you think of us, General Joan?
Never mind that, Jack. Tell them what you think of me.
I think that God was on your side, because I haven't forgotten how the wind changed, or how our hearts changed, and by my faith, I'll never deny that it was in your sign that we conquered. But I tell you as a soldier that God is no man's daily judge, and no mate's either. Sometimes, if you're worthy of it, he'll lift you out of the jaws of death and set you on your feet. But that is all. Once on your feet, you must fight with all your might and all your craft. Because if you presume in God further and trust in him to do work you should do yourself, you'll be defeated and service right.
But what about...
Shush! I'm not finished. Don't think any of you that these battles of ours were won without generalship. King Charles, you said no word in any of your proclamations about my part in this campaign, but I make no complaint to that, because the people will run after the maid and her miracles, not after the bastards' hard work finding troops and feeding them. I know exactly how much God did through the maid for us, and how much he left me to do by myself, by my own wits. And I tell you that your little hour of miracles is over. And from this time forward, he who plays the war game best will win, if the luck is on his side.
Ah, if. If it's an answer pots the pants of being a little tinkers. I tell you, bastard, that your art of war is no use, because your knights are no good for real fighting. War is only a game to them, like tennis and like other games. They make the rules as to what is fair and to what is not fair, and heap armour on themselves and on their poor horses. And when they fall, they can't get up, and their squires have to arrange about the ransoms of the man that has put them off their horse. Can't you understand? All the like of that is gone by and done with.
Common folks understand this. They followed me, half naked, into the moat and up the ladder and over the wall.
Not content with being Pope, Joan. You must be Caesar and Alexander as well.
Pride will have a fall, Joan.
Oh, never mind whether it is pride or not. Is it not true? Is it not common sense?
It is true. Half of us are afraid of having our hands and noses broken. The other half, they're paying off her mortgages. Let her have a maid and what? She does not know everything, but she has got hold of the right end of the stick. Fighting is not what it used to be, and those who know least about it often make the best job of it.
I know all that. I've learnt my lesson. I've learnt the lesson of Poitiers and of Cressy and of Agincourt. I know how many lives any move of mine will cost. If the move is worth the cost, I make the move and pay the cost. But Joan never counts the cost at all. She goes ahead and trusts to God. She thinks she has God in her pocket. But I know Joan. I see that someday she'll go ahead with only 10 men to do the work of 100. That's the day she'll find out God's on the side of the big battalions, because he has to be fair to your enemy too. Don't forget that. That day she'll be taken by the enemy. She'll be captured. The lucky man that makes that capture will receive £16,000 in the Earl of Warwick.
£16,000. Hey, laddie, if you offered that for me, there cannot be so much money in the whole world.
There is, in England. Now tell me, all of you, which one of you will lift a finger to save Joan the day after she has been taken by the enemy? I speak first. The army. The day after she's been yanked from a horse by Godam or Burgundian, and he's not struck dead by a bolt of lightning. The day when she's slammed up in some dungeon, the bolts and bars don't fly open at the touch of St. Peter's angel. The day when the enemy discovers she's as invincible as I am, and not a bit less vulnerable. That's the day she's not worth the life of a single soldier to us. And I won't risk that life, much as I cherish you as a companion in arms.
Jack, you're right. If God lets me be beaten, I'm not worth one single soldier's life. But Francie think me worth my ransom after all that God has done for her through me.
I tell you, I have no money, and this coronation, which is all your fault, has cost me every last farthing I can borrow.
The church is richer than you. I put my trust in the church.
Woman, they will drag you through the streets and burn you as a witch.
Oh, my lord. Do not say that. It is impossible. I, a witch.
Peter Cauchon knows his business. The University of Paris has burnt a woman for saying what you have done was well done and according to God.
But why? What is the sense there in it? What I have done is according to God. They could not burn a woman for speaking the truth.
They did.
You would not let them burn me.
How could I prevent them?
You could speak in the name of the church. You are a great prince of the church, and I would go anywhere for your blessing to protect me.
I have no blessing for you while you're proud and disobedient.
Why do you go on saying that? I am not proud and disobedient. I am only a poor country girl, and I do not know A from B. How can I be proud? And how can you say that I'm disobedient when I always obey my voices because they come from God?
The voice of God on earth is the voice of the church militant. All the voices that come to you are the echoes of your own willfulness.
Not true.
You tell the Archbishop in his cathedral that he lies! And yet you say you are not proud and disobedient.
I never said you lied. It was you that said my voices lied. When have we ever lied? Even if they are only echoes of my own common sense, are they not always true? And are your earthly counsels not always wrong?
It is a waste of time admonishing you.
It always comes back to the same thing. She is right and everyone else is wrong.
Take this as your last warning. If you perish through setting your private judgment above the instructions of your spiritual directors, the church disowns you and leaves you to whatever fate your presumption may bring upon you. The bastard has told you that if you persist in selling up your military conceit above the counsels of your commanders, then
To put it quite precisely, if you attempt to leave the garrison of Compiègne, you get caught.
the army will disown you and will not rescue you. And His Majesty the King has told you that the throne has not the means of ransoming you.
Not a penny.
You stand alone. Absolutely alone. Trusting to your own conceit, your own ignorance, your own headstrong presumption, your own impiety, and hiding all these sins under the cloak of a trust in God. When you pass through those doors into the sunlight, the crowd will cheer you. They'll bring you their little children, their invalids to hang. They will kiss your hands and your feet and alone. They cannot save you. We, and we only, can stand between you and the stake.
I have better friends and better counsel than yours.
I see that I am speaking in vain to a hardened heart. You reject our protection and are determined to turn us all against you. In future then, fend for yourself. And if you fail, God have mercy on your soul.
That's the truth, Joan.
Where would you have been if I had heeded that sort of trick? There is no help, no counsel in any of you. Yes, I am alone on earth. I have always been alone. My father told my brothers to drown me if I had not stayed to mind the sheep when France fled to death. France might perish as long as the lambs were safe. I thought that France would have friends in the court of the King of France. And yet I find only wolves fighting for pieces of her poor, torn body. I thought that God would have friends everywhere, because he is the friend of everyone. And in my innocence, I believed that you, who now cast me out, would be like strong powers to protect me and keep harm from me. But I am wiser now, and nobody is anything worse for being wiser. Do you not think that you can frighten me by telling me that I am alone? God is alone, and France is alone. And what is my loneliness for the loneliness of my country and my God? I realize now that God's strength was his loneliness. Where would he have been if he listened to your petty little jealousy? Well, my loneliness will be my strength too. It is better to be alone with God. His friendship will not fail me, nor his counsel, nor his love. In his strength I will dare and dare and dare until I die. I will go out now to common people and let his love and dare comfort me for the hate in yours. You will all be glad to see me burnt. But if I go through the fire, I will through their hearts forever. So, God go with me.
You know, the woman is quite impossible. I don't dislike her really, but what are we to do with such a character?
As God is my judge, if she fell into the wire, I jump in full body armor to fish her out. But if she insists on playing the fool accompaniment and gets caught, I have to leave her to her doom.
Then you'd better chain me up, for I could follow her to hell when the spirit rises in her like that.
She disturbs my judgment too. There is a dangerous power in her outburst.
If only she would keep quiet or go home.
The pit is open at her feet, and for good or evil, we cannot turn her from it.
the obstacle court, and we're only the secular arm.
I am aware of that fact. Will it please your impudence to find the Bishop of Beauvais for me, and to give him a hint that he can have a word with me here before the trial, if he wishes?
Yes, my lord.
And mind you behave yourself. Do not address him as Pious Peter.
No, my lord. I shall be kind to him, but when the maid is brought in, Pious Peter will have to take a peck of pickled pepper. The Right Reverend His Lordship the Bishop of Beauvais. And two other reverend gentlemen.
Get out and see that we're not interrupted.
Yes, my lord. I wish your lordship good morrow.
Good morrow to your lordship. Have I had the pleasure of meeting your friends before? I think not.
This, my lord, is Brother John Lemaitre of the Order of St. Dominic. He is acting as deputy to the chief inquisitor and to deal with the heresy in France. Brother John, the Earl of Warwick.
Your reverence is most welcome here. We have no inquisitor at present. We miss him greatly.
This gentleman is Canon Jean Lestivet of the chapter of Bayeux. He is acting as promoter.
Promoter?
Prosecutors were called.
Ah, prosecutor, quite. I am very glad to make your acquaintance, Canon Lestivet. May I ask what stage the proceedings have reached? It is now more than 9 months since the maid was captured at Compiègne by the Burgundians. It is fully 4 months since I bought her from the Burgundians for a very handsome sum, solely that she might be brought to justice. It is very nearly 3 months since I delivered her up to you, my lord, as a person suspected of heresy. May I suggest that you're taking a rather unconscionable time to make up your minds about a very plain case? Is this trial never going to end?
It is not yet begun, my lord.
Not yet begun? Why, you've been at it 11 weeks!
We have not been idle, my lord. We have held 15 examinations of the maid, 6 public and 9 private.
You see, my lord, I've been present at only 2 of these examinations. They're proceedings of the bishop's court solely, and not of the Holy Office. I've only just decided to associate myself. That is, to associate the Holy Inquisition with the bishop's court. I did not at first think of this case of heresy at all. I regarded it as a political case, and the maid as a prisoner of war. But having now been present at 2 of these examinations, I must admit, this appears to be one of the gravest cases of heresy within my experience. Therefore, everything is now in order. We proceed to trial this morning.
This moment, if your lordship's convenience allows.
That is good news, gentlemen. I will not attempt to conceal from you that our patience is becoming strained.
So I gathered from the threats of your soldiers to dry those of our people who favor the maid.
Oh, at all events, their intentions are friendly to you, my lord.
I hope not. I am determined that this woman shall have a fair hearing. The justice of the church is not a mockery, my lord.
And never has there been a fair examination within my experience, my lord. The maid needs no lawyers to take her part. To be tried by her most faithful friends, all ardently desirous to save her soul from perdition.
Sir, I am the promoter, and it has been my painful duty to present this case against the girl. But believe me, I would throw up my case today and hasten to her defense, if I did not know that men far my superiors in learning and piety, in eloquence and persuasiveness, have been sent to reason with her, to explain to her the danger she is running and the ease with which she may avoid it. Men have dared to say that we are acting from hate, but God is our witness that they lie. Have we tortured her? No. Have we ceased to exhort her, to implore her to have pity on herself, to come to the bosom of her church as an erring but beloved child? Have we...
Take care, Canon. All that you say is true. But if you make his lordship believe it, I shall not answer for your life, and hardly for my own.
Oh, my lord, you are very hard on us for English, but we certainly do not share your pious desire to save the maid. In fact, I'll tell you now plainly that her death is a political necessity, which I regret, but cannot help. If the church lets her go...
If the church lets her go, woe to the man were he the emperor himself who dares lay a finger on her. The church is not subject to political necessity, my lord.
You need have no anxiety about the result, my lord. You have an invincible ally in the matter, one who is far more determined than you that she shall burn.
Which is this very convenient partisan, may I ask?
And the maid herself. Unless you put a gag in her mouth, you cannot prevent her from convicting herself 10 times over every time she opens it.
That is perfectly true, my lord. My hair bristles on my head when I hear so young a preacher utter such blasphemies.
Well, by all means do your best, sir, if you're quite sure it will be of no avail. I should be sorry to have to act
without the blessing of the church.
And yet they say Englishmen are hypocrites. You play for your side, my lord, even at the peril of your soul. I cannot but admire such devotion, but I dare not go so far myself. I fear damnation.
If we feared anything, my lord, we could never govern England. Shall I send your people in to you?
Yes, it would be very good of your lordship to withdraw and allow the court to assemble. What scoundrels these English nobles are.
All secular farming spend scoundrels. They're not trained for the work, and they've not apostolic succession. Our own nobles are just as bad.
Good morning, Master de Scottenberg. Chaplain to the Cardinal of England.
Oh, Winchester, my lord. I have to make a protest, my lord.
Really? You make a great many.
I'm not without support, my lord. Here is Master de Courcelles, Canon of Paris, who associates himself with me in my protest.
Well, what's the matter?
Speak you, Master de Courcelles, since I do not seem to enjoy his lordship's confidence.
My lord, we have been at great pains to drop an indictment as made on 64 counts. We are now told they have been reduced without consulting us.
Master de Courcelles, I am the culprit. I'm overwhelmed with admiration for the zeal displayed in your 64 counts. But accusing a heretic, as another thing, enough is enough. Also, you must remember that all the members of the court are not so subtle and profound as you. And some of your very great learning might appear to them to be very great nonsense. Therefore, I thought it well to have your 64 articles cut down to 12.
12?
12 will, believe me, be quite enough for your purpose.
But some of the most important points have been reduced to almost nothing. For instance, the maid actually declared that the blessed Saints Margaret and Catherine and the Holy Archangel Michael spoke to her in French. That is a vital point.
You think, doubtless, they should have spoken in Latin?
No, methinks they should have spoken in English.
Naturally, my lord.
Well, as we're all here agreed, I think, that the voices of the maid are the voices of evil spirits, tempting her to her damnation. It would not be very courteous to you, Master de Stoltenberg, or to the King of England to assume that English is the devil's native language. Let it pass. The matter's not wholly omitted from the 12 articles. Pray, take your seats, gentlemen. Let us proceed to business.
Well, I protest, that is all.
I think it hard that all our work should go for nothing. It is only another example of the diabolical influence which this woman exercises over the court.
Do you suggest that I am under diabolical influence?
I suggest nothing, my lord. But it seems to me that there is a conspiracy here to hush up the fact that the maid stole the Bishop of Senlis' horse.
This is not a police court. Are we to waste our time on this rubbish?
My lord, do you call the bishop's horse rubbish?
Master de Courcelles, the maid alleges that you paid handsomely for the bishop's horse, and if you did not get the money, the fault was not hers. Not that may be true, the point is one in which the maid may well be acquitted.
Yes, if it were an ordinary horse, but the bishop's horse, how could she be acquitted for that?
I submit to you with great respect that if we persist in trying the maid on trumpery issues in which we may have to declare her innocent, she may escape us on the great main issue of heresy, when she seems so far to insist upon her own guilt. I will ask you, therefore, to say nothing when the maid is brought before us, to these stealings of horses and dancing round fairy trees of the village children, prayings at haunted wells, and a dozen other things you were diligently inquiring into until my arrival. There's not a village girl in France against whom you could not prove such things. They all dance around fairy trees and pray at magic wells. Some of them would steal the Pope's horse if they got a chance. Heresy. Gentlemen, heresy is the charge we have to try. The detection and suppression of heresy is my peculiar business. I'm here as an inquisitor, not as an ordinary magistrate. Stick on heresy, gentlemen. Leave other matters alone.
I may say that we have sent to this girl's village to inquire about her, and there's practically nothing serious against her.
What the
Nothing
very
serious,
tree
well
will
done.
that, gentlemen, a big one at a time.
But that is what the maid said to us last Friday.
I wish you had followed her counsel, sir. When I say nothing serious, I mean nothing that men of sufficiently large mind to conduct an inquiry like this would consider serious. I agree with my colleague the Inquisitor that it is on account of heresy that we must proceed.
merely not her simplicity. Many saints have said as much as Joan.
Brother Mark, if you have seen what I have seen of heresy, you would not think it a light thing. Even its most apparently harmless, lovable, and pious origins. Heresy begins with people who are to all appearance better than their neighbours. A gentle and pious girl, or a young man who has obeyed the command of our Lord by giving all his riches to the poor, and putting on the garb of poverty, the life of austerity, and the rule of humility and charity. Maybe a founder of a heresy that will wreck both church and empire, if not ruthlessly stamped out in time. The records of the Holy Inquisition are full of histories we dare not give to the world, because they're beyond the belief of honest men and innocent women. But they all began simply simple. I've seen this again and again. Mark what I say. The woman who quarrels with her clothes and puts on the dress of a man. It's like the man who throws off his fur coat and dresses like John the Baptist. They're followed, as surely as night follows the day, by bands of wild women and men who refuse to wear any clothes at all. When mates will neither marry nor take regular vows, and men exalt their lusts into divine inspirations, then, as surely as summer follows the spring, they begin with polygamy and end by incest. Heresy at first seems innocent, and even laudable. But it ends in such a monstrous horror of unnatural wickedness that the most tender-hearted among you, if you saw it at work, as I have seen it, would clamour against the mercy of the Church in dealing with it. For almost 200 years, the Holy Inquisition has striven with these diabolical madnesses, and it knows that they begin always by vain and ignorant persons, setting up their own judgment against that of the Church, and taking it upon themselves to be the interpreters of God's will. You must not fall into the common error of mistaking these simpletons for liars and hypocrites. They believe honestly and sincerely that their diabolical inspiration is divine. Therefore, you must be on your guard against your natural compassion. You're all, I hope, merciful men. How else could you have devoted the lives to the service of our gentle Saviour? I want to see before you a young girl, pious and chaste. I must tell you, gentlemen, the things said of her by our English friends are supported by no evidence, whilst there's abundant testimony that her excesses have been excesses of religion and charity, not of worldliness and wantonness. This girl is not one of those whose hard features are the sign of hard hearts, and whose brazen looks and lurid demeanour condemn them before they are accused. The devilish pride that has led her into her present peril has left no mark on her countenance. Strange as it may seem to you, it's even left no mark on her character, outside those special matters in which she is proud. Therefore, you will see a diabolical pride and a natural humility, seated side by side in the self-same soul. Therefore, be on your guard. God forbid I should tell you to harden your hearts. For punishment, if we condemn her, would be so cruel that we should forfeit our own hope of divine mercy, with there one grain of malice against her in our hearts. But if you hate cruelty, and if any man here does not hate it, I command him in his soul's salvation to quit this holy court. I say, if you hate cruelty, remember that nothing is so cruel in its consequences as the toleration of the heresy. Remember also that no court of law can be so cruel as the common people are to those whom they suspect of heresy. Gentlemen, and compassionate by nature as well as by my profession, although the work I have to do may seem cruel, I would go to the stake myself sooner than do it, if I did not know its righteousness, its necessity, its essential mercy. I ask you to address yourselves to this trial in that conviction. Anger is a bad counsellor. Cast out anger. Pity is sometimes worse. Cast out pity. Do not cast out mercy. Remember only that justice comes first. Didn't you say, my lord, before we proceed to trial?
You have spoken well, my lord, and spoken better than I could. I do not see how an sane man can disagree with a word that is fallen from.
have no fear in that score, my lord. The noble Earl has 800 men-at-arms at the gates. She will not slip through our English fingers, even if the whole city be on her side.
Will you not add, Lord Rex, repentant for your sins?
That does not seem to me to be consistent. But of course, I agree with your lordship.
Lord Fitz,
Let the accused be brought in.
The accused, let her be brought in.
You look pale today. Sit down, Joan. Are you not well?
Thank you kindly. I'm well enough. The bishop sent me to the carpet and made me ill.
I'm sorry. I told him he was fresh.
You meant to be kind to me, I know, but it is fish that does not agree with me. The English thought you were trying to poison me.
What?
They're determined that I shall be burnt as a witch, and they sent their doctor to cure me. The silly fools believed the witch's witchery leaves her she had fled, so he only called me filthy names.
Why do you leave me in the hands of the English? I should be in the hands of the church. And why do you chain me by the feet to a log of wood? Are you afraid that I will fly away?
Woman, it is not for you to question the court. It is for us to question you.
When you were left unchained, did you not try to escape by jumping from a tower 60 feet high? If you cannot fly like a witch, how is it you're still alive?
I suppose because the tower was not so high then.
Why did
It
you
has
jump?
grown higher every day since you began asking me questions about it.
Why did you jump from the tower?
How do you know that I jumped?
You were found lying in the moat. Why did you leave the tower?
Why would anybody escape from prison if they could?
Tried to escape?
Yes, and not for the first time either. If you leave the door of the cage open, the bird will fly out.
That is a confession of heresy. I call the attention of the court to it.
Heresy, he calls it. Am I a heretic because I tried to escape from prison?
Assuredly, if you're in the hands of the church and you willfully take yourself out of its hands, you're deserting the church. That is heresy.
It is great nonsense. Nobody could be such a fool as to think that.
You hear, my lord? I reviled in the execution of my duty by this woman.
I warned you before, Joan, that you're doing yourself no good by these hard answers.
But you will not talk sense to me. I am reasonable if you will be reasonable.
This is not yet in order. You forget, Master Promoter, that the proceedings have not been formally opened. The time for question is after she has sworn in the Gospels to tell us the whole truth.
You say this to me every time.
I have said again and again that I will tell you everything that concerns this trial. But I cannot tell you the whole truth. God does not allow the whole truth to be told, and you do not understand it when I tell it. There is an old saying, the man who tells too much truth is sure to be hanged. I am weary of this argument. We've been over it 9 times already. I have sworn as much as I will swear, and I will swear no more. My lord, she should be put to torture.
You hear, Joan? Now that's what happens to the obdurate. Think before you answer. Has she been shown the instruments?
They are ready, my lord. She has seen them.
If you tear me limb from limb until you separate my soul from my body, you will get nothing out of me beyond what I have already told you. What more is there that you can understand?
Besides, I cannot bear to be hurt
say anything you like to stop the pain. I will take it all back afterwards. So what is the use of it?
There is much in that. We should proceed by today.
But the torture is customary.
It's not be applied wantonly. The accused will confess voluntarily, then its use cannot be justified.
But this is unusual and irregular. She refuses to take the oath.
Do you want to torture the girl for the mere pleasure of it?
But it is not a pleasure. It is